pinwheel for they have start maps. But then you see all the guys are staying in the outside lane there. None of them are peeling off to the left just yet because, like I said, the inside line's really dusty. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the guys on the inside making a pretty bad start.
Yeah. And the reason they don't want to go all the way down the inside is because it'll just pick up dust, and dust doesn't grip as well as rubber does, and the rubber is very hot and will be very sticky. It is like chewing gum, basically. Anything that you ride over will stick to it. And so as they peel off, you just saw the grid starting to form. In the centre of your shot, Yves Maton ahead of Citroën Racing. And Total Citroën Sport, Ivan Muller not quite forward in his grid spot. This is hard to judge. You're so low in the car.
Lopez looks slightly forward of his.
Coronel, well, he's in it. Coronel trying to find his. Red lights are on for the first race in Moscow, and they go off very quickly. Decent start from Lopez. Where's Tarquini? He has not got the greatest start. Huff is inside him. Can't get through, and through goes Ivan Muller ahead of Jose Maria Lopez. Out very wide goes Ricard Rydell as Norbert Mikulis bumps his way inside Thiago Montero. Chilton in front of the black and red car, the second black and red car, that's Norbert Mikulis. So Muller, Lopez, Tarquini and Huff, then Chilton. Marr got by Tom Chilton, didn't he, in the Citroën?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he has. That's a good start he's had there from the line.
And there's a Lada offline there, and that will be Nicky Katzberg being dive-bombed by Tom Coronel, who goes a long way around the alley. It's not, it's Jaap van Lagen. Oh, and contact between the Dutch drivers. And Coronel, who's not had the best of times, gets turned around on the run up the hill towards corner 9.
Coronel won't be very happy about that, I don't think.
Oh, and off has gone Bernani and Daste. Well, Coronel and Daste aren't having much of a weekend, nor is Bernani. 9 is an uphill approach, pop over the brow into a tight left-hander. And Harry, you talked about it in free practice, we often see incidents there because you're on the extreme right, the door looks open and suddenly gets slammed very. Well, Bernani, shunted from behind. It wasn't a door open. Daste just got too deep in under braking, and if you pop over that brow, car goes light.
Yeah, just locked up.
So Huff looking at Tarquini at the end of the front straight. He'll want to strike early if he can. On the podium here would be a great run for Rob Huff if he can achieve it. We already heard from Gabriel early on saying after a couple of laps the Citroëns will be gone and the race will be over. Maybe not so much. There's Grégoire de Moustier in the Craft Bamboo car, tailing Jaap van Lagen.
I wonder if Van Lagen's had a problem. He seems to slow down quite dramatically in the middle there and then.
Yeah, I wonder whether there was something in the electronics where the car just sort of wouldn't change gear or wouldn't rev or something, because he did look suddenly to be off the pace. There is Rob Huff, car number 12, the world champion. In fact, our first 4 qualifiers were all world champions on the grid: Muller, Lopez, Tarquini and Huff. So again, as ever, the cream rising to the top in qualifying when it really mattered.
So far, so good for Huff in this car as well. You know, we know that the Lada's made a big step forward before this weekend. And he seems to be tailing on that Honda fairly effectively, which is good news. But I guess this is where we're going to see how well it looks after its tyres. Yeah.
Well, 2 things happened when they were testing after the Hungaroring before they went to the Nordschleife. First, Rob Huff had a monumental shunt at turn 1 when he had a left front hub failure. But before that, on their first day of testing, the car was over 9/10 faster when they'd made some testing improvements to it than Huff had been able to go in qualifying, his fastest laps. So they have made a big step with that car. Stewards will look at the incident between Daste and Bernani after the race. Or we'll look at it now and decide where there's a penalty to be applied, I'm afraid. I think Daste might end up getting a bit of a drive-through for that, because clearly wasn't Bernani's fault from where we were sat.
No. Did you see that Citroën pull away from Montero on the straight there? The difference was absolutely huge.
In the background, Hugo Vallant battling with Ricard Rydell. I wonder how Rydell is going to stand up to the heat. He said he's only just started light training in the last week or so. So he said he feels healthy, but I don't think he feels like an ox anymore. He's been laid very low for the last couple of months by thyroiditis. Muller and Lopez. Muller not pulling away, and Lopez not getting away from Tarquini either. I mean, this is a circuit where the Citroëns can't use their long wheelbase stability in high-speed corners. They can't use their superior speed down the straight. Looking here at a replay at the final corner. Hugo Vallon dives in. Rydell tries to come around him as well. Lots of good racing going on there. That was the battle for 10th place.
Muller was 2/10 slower than Lopez on that previous lap as well, so...
Well, Jose Maria's in the slipstream, and again we see a battle as Sebastian Loeb is going to lose a place to Thiago Monteiro. Monteiro goes through, Sebastian Loeb loses 8th position. So another change of place there. Thiago Monteiro now up to 8th place, looking to gain as many points from race 1 as he can. He'll start race 2 on pole. And Harry, how much do you think that's going to have just any effect in race 1, that he doesn't want to damage the car?
Yeah, he's going to have that in his mind, because race 2 is a really serious opportunity for Honda, the works team, to get a race win here. So yeah, he won't be wanting to cause too much damage, but likewise he also won't be giving up points too easily either.
Only one Honda winner so far, and that's this year. That's the Zengo Motorsport driver Norbert Mikulits. Let's take a look at the starting grid from behind. Muller did get a good launch. Tarquini, I was singing his praises early on. Horrible start, but look at Monteiro.
Yeah, Chilton had a cover the inside before anyone could make a move on it.
Ricard got a long way around the outside, nearly picked up places. That's Norby, his view. And Chilton went through on the inside. Not sure whose camera that was. Well, was that Monteiro's? And there's Daste hoofing off Mehdi Benani. And this will be Van Lagen and Coronel. That's Yap's camera.
Difficult one, that, because he didn't really have a lot of space. He obviously tried to give Coronel the room on the inside and put a wheel on the grass and just ran into his rear corner. So I think that'll be one of those racing driver arguments which they can sort out.
Lead quartet are pulling away from Ma Qing Ha, but Ma fastest in the second sector at the moment. On board with Jaap van Lagen behind Hugo Vallon, so that's the battle for 11th. Muller is now starting to make a little ground between himself and Jose Maria Lopez. Lopez similarly just a little in front of Tarquini. No space at all between Tarquini and Huff. If Huff is going to take a place, then this will be the race that he wants to do it in. And Lopez, despite this decision he is making, rather than Muller being able to pull away.
Possibly, but well, sorry, that's not, yeah. He is still on him. I mean, Muller's just put a faster lap in there, like a seriously fast lap. Yeah. But they've both just found 0.3 of a second over their fastest lap previously, so...
Ooh, Philippe and de Moustier get together, the Belgian and the Corsican. And the Corsican driver running off track there, so that's another one to look at. Incident between Coronel and car 1. Who's car 1? I don't have a car 1. Anyway, involving car 4, lap 1. Okay, so I mean Jaap van Lagen. So into the garage has come Gregoire de Moustier. Not quite sure whether that was a legacy. Philippe, I'm not sure if that was a legacy of that incident or maybe what led to it. Battles all the way down the order. Van Lagen and Vallon hard at it, right behind Katzberg. Jaap showing his nose on the inside. Tiny bit of fifth lane ditch hooking there going on, but no dramas. Ricard Rydell not quite able to stay with this little battle. So in front, Nicky Katzberg, the first of those two larders, is 10th. Vallon is 11th in the Dayglow and white Chevrolet. And Jaap van Lagen in 12th, Rydell 13th. And Muller, fastest race lap, 140.44. The lap record from last year, 140.14. So we're still 0.3 away from that. We were way under in qualifying, way inside the qualifying record, well over a second inside it. On board is Rob Huff.
Huff was looking very racy. He was faster on the, not that lap just gone, but the previous lap and the lap prior to that. He was faster than Tarquini and was all over the back end of him, so that could heat up quite nicely. Big slide from
mistake from Vallon, and he loses ground to the man behind him, Jaap van Lagen. Here comes Mehdi Benani trying to put in a move around the outside of Tom Coronel. And Bernani doesn't quite get through on the outside, but he cuts to the inside. That is a really good bit of racing driving, Harry. He sold the defence on the outside and then cut inside.
It was a great move, wasn't it? He managed to get the cut back done and tucked it up the inside, and I don't think Coronel even sort of imagined that coming, but yeah, great move. Just shows the strength of that Citroen chassis, though, to be able to come back on that kind of angle.
Yeah, again, it can turn. It's like the Chevrolets used to be compared to everybody else. It can turn inside anyone. Mistake from Vallant over the brow. You saw the car slide, and suddenly Van Lagen trying to snap him up. But from corner 9 here, 10, 11, downhill, off camber 11, that right-hander, and then down into 12, 13, 14. There's really no way to get through unless you nerve the car off in front.
Vallant looks like he's struggling with the rear end a little bit. We've seen him having fairly major slides on quite a lot of occasions here.
It is oversteer city, that car, isn't it? And maybe that explains his lack of speed, because Van Lagen really trying hard not to tap him there.
Yeah, I wonder if his rear tyres are going away or something, but he just, the last couple of laps for him certainly seems to be getting a little bit wild.
And he had no speed in qualifying either, did he? I mean, really unusually, he wasn't in the top 5. He's been in the top 5 Q3 shootout the last 3 straight race weekends. Van Lagen down the inside. That's candy from a baby.
It is, but he could come back on the inside here, but yeah, no. Good move.
Yeah, good move from Van Lagen, but clearly Vallant in trouble with the rear. They want the car to steer a bit at the rear, but it looks like his car, and actually Coronel's as well, oversteering too much. I mean, we saw Tom Coronel on Friday or Saturday changing springs because he said it's too soft at the front, it's oversteering too much, but they clearly still haven't got. We're riding with, maybe holding him up a bit. I think Huff probably also thinks that if he could get by Tarquini, he might even get to Lopez. Whether he'll pass him or not is neither here nor there, but getting by Tarquini is definitely still top of Huff's agenda. Drifting out wide, Gregoire de Moustier and Stefano D'Aste down the inside. Mehdi Bernani looking to pick up another scout there as well. Halfway through our race, nearly. Lap 7 completed, we're on lap 8. And we've had no safety cars last year here. We've had no safety cars so far this weekend. This race should go clean. By Sebastian Loeb, and Loeb making no impression on the Honda. This track really works for the Honda. It's a shorter chassis, it's nimble, it turns really well, and there are lots of turns here and very few straight bits, and that's why the Honda seems suddenly to have found performance. They haven't found it, just it's now on a track that really works well for it.
Yeah, the Honda's been historically impressive around here, even in the previous format of this World Touring Car spec forms. You can't see there, it's that middle sector where there's a lot of changes of direction. That's where it's really, really strong. This battle with Rob Huff, Rob is losing out in sector 2 and 3, but 1 and 4 he's faster than Tarquini. Yeah, I think that tells you everything you need to know about him.
Bernani up the inside of de Moustier. A change now for 15th place. Stefano D'Aste in front and Tom Coronel behind. So this is a 4-way battle with D'Aste currently in 14th. Long gap from them up to Ricard Rydell, though. He's 2.5 seconds further up the road. See if Coronel can make any inroads on fellow Chevy driver de Moustier. Talking to Gregoire's engineer a little earlier. Apart from D'Aste, who doesn't have the engine upgrade, they've all got the aero package upgrade, the others have all got the engine upgrade, so the cars are very much of a muchness, and yet some weekends one will be much further in front of all the others. The last couple of weekends it's been Vallant. This weekend it's Tom Chilton, who's in the top 5, now running 6th. And a change of place for the Larders. Jaap Van Lagen goes by, Nicky Katsberg. I want to see that again. How did Katsberg make a mistake going into the final corner?
Yeah, I'm not sure that.
There's the Larder donkey. Now, did Is he now then, because he's been racing GTs the last couple of years, GT3 cars, ABS and everything, is he now starting to find that his pedal's going long or that his tyres are going away because he's not as experienced with them, I wonder?
There will certainly be an element of that. You know, looking after the front tyres is critical in touring car racing, and that may be something he's struggling a little bit from.
This is the replay of Benani going by Daste, up the inside into turn 1. And de Moustier, no, I think, yeah, just did him under braking up the inside. Obviously, being the newest of the new boys, not de Moustier, Katterberg wasn't going to shut the door and have his teammate off.
Yeah, he didn't seem to fight him for it too hard, did he?
Well, you're not going to. If your teammate comes calling up the inside, you're not going to fight him. Also, you're starting on row 1 for race 2. There is the Honda boss, William de Brecquelaire. Gabriele Tarquini looks to be consolidating third. He's just pulling away a little bit from close down the Honda. At the end, he closes a little under braking, but not enough. And actually, you sense that in the next 6 laps, Loeb is going to have to start looking in his mirrors because Van Lagen is not far behind. Loeb half a second off Tarquini, Van Lagen 2.5 seconds off Loeb. That could come into play before the end of the race.
Definitely. It's strange because on the on-board earlier on when Thiago is behind Loeb, the Citroen's like absolutely blasted him away, but when you actually look at those external shots, it doesn't seem to be that much of a difference between the two.
You could see down there in turn 2 and turn 3 how much sand the cars were kicking up as we just watched the Honda. Look again, and that's because Gregoire de Moustier just goes off there, and ditch hooking on the inside brings loads of sand onto the track as well. And that tells you why the track is so dirty offline, Harry, because it is a very sandy strata here, the subsoil. It's very dry, very sandy, and so anybody puts a wheel off, you kick loads of sand all over the track.
Yeah, you drag a little bit on, they get spread all over the place, and we've seen a lot of the guys, especially in turn 2 and 3, they're dropping a wheel really quite far over the curve there, just kicking it up.
De Moustier hanging on in front of Coronel. They battle for 16th. Not sure Rob Huff's given this up yet, you know. He spent the whole time following Tarquini closely, but cooling air for the radiators.
Yeah, he has lost a little bit of time too, but it's not a huge amount, certainly not over.
Tarquini's not going to get to Lopez, that much we can pretty much guarantee, unless the Citroen has a rare mechanical failure. But Huff is definitely within striking distance, close enough to make Tarquini feel uncomfortable almost all the time. From Gabrielle's point of view, he knows that Rob is not going to go for a random lunge, because that's not what world champions do. That's not how they become world champions. But if Gabrielle makes one mistake, he knows that Huff could appear alongside him in the door mirror.
Yeah, and Rob has to keep pushing as well, because he's got Mar bearing down on him. He's still got a reasonable amount of breathing space, but he was nearly 3/10 of a lap faster on him on that previous lap.
Mar in clear air is 2.5 seconds back, but as you say, going a lot quicker. Of course, we say 3/10 of a second is a lot. It's not. It's the most fractional amount, but motor racing is all about fractional amounts. Moustier versus Coronel. Chevrolet versus Chevrolet, and again you hear the rob you of speed because the tyre will overheat much too quickly.
Yeah, I wonder if that might have been some loose bodywork as well. It sounded quite
that's
loud.
True.
He's been off a few times.
Now I said Lopez wasn't going to get caught, of course, barring a mechanical failure, and immediately the next lap he half throws it off the track. So it shows that his tyres are maybe going away, maybe winding all the wing off wasn't the best thing for the car. But he's 50 points ahead. That's an entire race weekend, bar qualifying. He can afford to take a tiny gamble here and there, can't he?
Yeah, definitely. It's, you know, he doesn't have to. The fight's not for him to take to anyone else, I don't think, at the moment. I don't know if you spotted there, but in Huff's visor, they all run this cooling system that we alluded to early on, just on the grid there. He's lifted his visor up, which he did have down to start with, and you have to have the visor down to let the cooling stay in the helmet.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's broken and no longer working for him or something.
Might be getting very warm inside that hat. Lap 12 of 16, and Sebastian Loeb still trying to find a way past. You can see the car trying to oversteer there as he turns in, and again here. Gets the front into the corner and the rear. He's just trying to slide around. It's been very frustrating for Coronel because he can see de Moustier is struggling, but he just can't get alongside him.
it's a good learning process for de Mercedes, because having someone like an old master like Coronel behind you, and if you can hold him behind you, then that's certainly something you learn which we'll be able to use in the future.
Gabriele Tarquini may have the opportunity now to start to think about second place instead of third, as he closes on Jose Maria Lopez. Lopez gap to Ivan Muller is now 3.1 seconds. At the line last time, Lopez was 1.3 ahead of Tarquini. Whether that remains the same, I'm not entirely sure. Rob Huff, 0.9 behind from 0.7, but again in the slipstream of 2. And then Thiago Monteiro, Sebastian Loeb, Chilton and Michaelis, the two red and black cars, working together as one unit in the air. They're still not catching Mars Sitchin. You can see that Michaelis is having trouble getting the Honda turned in there, and
that's Huffy.
That is Huff on Tarquini. Tarquini may be having the same problems in corner 1 and 2 as we saw from Michaelis.
Huffy had a mega lap on the previous lap though, just looking at the times just as this battle kicked off.
And Huff is all over Gabriele. And there'll be an awful lot of people in yellow shirts leaping up and down if he can manage to get by the Honda in the remaining 3 laps.
Because Gabriele had a good lap on the previous lap, but Huff had an even better one, so he pulled 3.5 tenths out of him on the previous lap.
Tiniest of touches. Gabriele knows he's there anyway. That wasn't a wake-up call from Rob. That was just taking the tighter line. And it's interesting that the Lada has still got the grip to take the tighter line, despite sitting in the hot wake of Tarquini's car for the last dozen laps. Tarquini has redoubled his effort. Pick up a few hundreds more in terms of time as he gets a little bit more speed in the Lada in the slipstream of the Honda. Lopez not getting away either, really, is he?
No, he's not.
That mistake that dropped him from almost 2 seconds away is now being compounded.
I think what happened there, Gabriele made a mistake in sector 1, looking at the way the times have panned out, but he's obviously recovered from that, and that's what allowed Rob to catch up so dramatically there.
Last time round, Muller 142.20, Lopez 142.22, Tarquini 42.39, Huff 42.42, and the fastest man on track last lap, Ma 142.12. So he is in 5th place, he is the man on the move, but he's got a lot of moving to do to try and catch Rob Huff. 13 laps completed, and Tom Coronel now starting to run out of options as he runs out of tyre. Drifts out way wide in corner. Now the young Belgian won't have the Dutchman in his mirror in the next couple of corners, and that'll allow him just to breathe a sigh of relief, maybe gasp a bit more air in.
Yeah, look, the Lada is able to carry a lot of entry speed, isn't it? From turn into the middle of the corner to the apex, it's able to carry roll a lot of speed up to that apex, which certainly seems better than the Honda in that respect. But the Honda seems to leap off the corner a bit faster.
It does. Rob is always playing catch-up up the straight. Thiago Monteiro now leaving Sebastian Loeb behind him. And Loeb cannot close up the straight. There's Ma. What's the gap over? Gap's come down to Tom Chilton. It's now down to 1.8 seconds. Still too much probably to make up in 2 laps. We're now starting lap 15 of 16. All the Russians here will be going, come on, Huffy. Desperate to see the Lada go by for 3rd place in the paddock. So where's Tarquini looking? Is he looking at Lopez, or is he watching Huff in his mirrors?
I think he knows that he's weak in sector 1 compared to Rob in the Lada, so I guess he'll just be trying to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes to allow Rob up too close in sector 1.
The only place you can afford a mistake is in this sector here, where it's very hard to find any momentum to get by somebody, because you're constantly braking, turning, accelerating.
Yeah, we've only ever really seen a few either forced overtakes there or when people have made a mistake.
The run up to turn 9 is Rob Huff's best opportunity, or from corner 1 to 2 to 3, or at the end of the straight, but he's just not getting close enough at the end of the straight.
These Ladas, though, it's very impressive. I mean, up and down the field there, we're seeing them sticking with Citroens and Hondas, and the Honda again, that seems to have taken the fight to the Citroen. Yep. Montero there, Loeb's not able to make any progress on him, really. Well,
and remember that I talked about Van Lagen being 2.5 seconds behind 3 laps ago. Lines what I suspect Rob Huff thinks, that if he'd been able to get in front of Gabrielli at the start, he could have given those Citroens a tougher time than he's been able to so far.
Yeah, it tells us that the Lada's looking after its tyres very well as well, which is good to see.
Well, Van Lagen's last lap, a 1:42.24. Loeb's last lap, a 1:42.44. So that's 0.2 a lap quicker than the Citroen driver. And in fact, Van Lagen's best race lap, a 140.75. Loeb's best race lap, a 41.39.
Yeah, Loeb seems to be struggling a little bit. I mean, it's quite a long way down on his teammates, and he's normally there or thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah, Loeb in the 41s. All the other, I know Mars' fastest race lap was a 41.08. All the other Citroen drivers' fastest race laps are in the 40s. Lopez a 40.58, Van Lagen a 40.75. So Van Lagen's fastest race lap is only... Looks like he might have a bit of an overheating issue. He's in the pits. Going to start a long way down the grid on race 2 as well, 14th place.
Here's Huffy in the background. Yeah. Dodged out of the slip.
Well, checkered flag is out for our winner. It is Ivan Muller. Huff doesn't get to Gabriele Tarquini. He's having a run at the line. Not close enough. Double checkered flags, because the first one is inside corner 1 and very hard to see. And the margin for Gabriele Tarquini, 0.29, in 3rd place ahead of Rob Huff. So Van Muller wins it. Jose Maria Lopez in 2nd place, Tarquini 3rd, Huff 4th, Mar, Chilton, Mikulicz, Montero, Loeb and Van Lagen. So Nicky Katsberg in 11th place, just out of the points in his first race. No mechanical carnage, no crashes at the front end of the field to take account of any of the cars that started in front of him. But Katsberg, a good race from him. His teammate got by and 0.71.